Section 12 of Shadowland, September 1919. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Donald Warren. Shadowland, September 1919, by Various, Section 12. Paris is officially known as the harbinger of fashions. Time was when Paris styles were brought over here primarily for the benefit of the extremists, were worn by women who could afford to tickle their fickle fancies with new fads, and who reeked not the cost of a costume which might not prove to be as popular a success as it was a novelty. But alas, that state of affairs is no longer possible. The little woman in Kankakee now knows the latest Paris fashion very nearly as soon as her sister, if only under the skin, who haunts Newport's Bellevue Avenue in summer and The Avenue in winter. The reason for this leveling of distinction is motion pictures. Actresses of the stage have long been the accepted means of popularizing styles, but today the actress of the shadow world is an even more poignant factor. For not only is she, or rather her shadow self, seen in even the tiniest helmet, but her salary is nearly 3 times that of the footlight actress. Lavishly does the motion picture actress invest in Parisian and American fads and fancies of fashion. So quickly does she spread the new manner of styles throughout the land that designers are becoming quite frantic in their effort to keep the supply of exclusive models up to the demand. The other day, while speaking to a Fifth Avenue designer of models for the elite, I was shown several very smart drawings of thin young women poured into long, slender garments featuring tight skirts, Russian blouses, and a long waistline. "These are the styles of today, madam," he said with a suave little gesture, which comes from much playing up to ruffled feminine vanities. "But for tomorrow, I already have my people working on the skirts that are short and full and waists with short sleeves. I must keep constantly changing my models, or my customer, she meets herself in the street a dozen times in cheap copies." Thus one finds the fashions of today in a rather hodgepodge condition. Almost anything is acceptable, and the more odd it is, the more apt it is to be credited with the blue ribbon badge of novelty. One fact is certain: Paris is wearing the short skirt model. The Parisian skirt hangs close to the figure, although in many instances the straight line is broken by an overskirt of eccentric or conventional design. Fanny Ward writes entertainingly from the French capital concerning the length of skirts and the gowns. The necks are cut so low and the skirts so high that it looks as if the modists were trying to make both ends meet, and had nearly succeeded despite the hardships of war. Raymond Hitchcock once said that it was his desire to give a good show and deceive no one. Well, the Parisian designers have evidently tried to visualize this idea with their latest models. A one-piece bathing suit is Arctic attire in comparison with some of the latest underdresses. From Paris also comes the verdict for short sleeves, although because the French woman generally insists upon wearing gloves, a slight preference has been given to the 3/4 sleeve, thus compromising with the tremendous expense of long gloves. And while we are speaking of gloves, an attempt is being made to popularize the glove fashion of glacé kid, and flaunting a gauntlet trimmed with fur or embroidered in colors matching the costume. It is said that the redingote is to be featured this winter. This is one of the oldest garments in the history of fashion. It used to be called a polonaise because it was introduced into Paris court fashions by a queen who was a Polish princess. The long garment was the feature of her national dress. It seemed neither unusual or surprising to her. To the French it was both, and was seized upon as a new epoch in fashions. Today the house of Chariot is reviving this 18th century cloak. As shown by Chariot, the polonaise or the redingote of today is the long, straight coat with a slight fullness over the hips. The whole hangs limply from shoulder to hem and is girdled about the waist by an immense sash. Dark serge or satin is the favored material. This revival of the polonaise, which reaches to the hem of the gown, undoubtedly accounts for the fact that there is a revival of knee-length coats in tailored suits. Fall and winter will undoubtedly see the banishment of the suit coat cut off at the hips and the popular appearance of the knee-length model. Meanwhile, evening gowns are of two distinct types, and the well-gowned woman must consider the occasion before dressing for her after-sundown hours. If she's to go where dancing is the feature of the entertainment, a dance frock should be worn. These are short and provide a certain freedom of movement by cunningly devised slits in their clinging skirts. Taffeta is the approved material for dance frocks at the present moment and provides a crisp freshness to the sultry scene of any warm Indian summer evening. On the other hand, if dancing is not to be the form of amusement, my lady should have in her possession several distinct evening gowns. The shade of difference is the dignity so evident in the real evening gown. Long lines, and a train that is serpentine separate from the skirt, but a train for that are the distinctive features. Black over white or dull blue are the popular shades, and jet is the thing in trimming. Speaking of trimmings, those little things that make or mar a costume, ostrich feathers are the ornaments of the hour. One sees them caught in sashes, forming ruffles for sleeves, and even used to form a whole overskirt. Truly the bird with the long neck has come into his own, at least temporarily, which is the most that can be said for any fashion. A delightful contrast to the unreasonable velvet-crowned hats with tulle or organdy brims we have been wearing during the past 2 summers are the midsummer hats of smartest tulle that the Paris milliners have sent us. Some of these hats are crownless, and for those who object to having their hair disarranged by the breezes, soft layers of tulle are provided as a crown. The brim of the crownless hat consists usually of frills of silk net. Any woman who can match her well-coiffed locks with a hat such as this may be sure of looking particularly lovely. For the replenishing of the vacation wardrobe, the Fifth Avenue shops are showing smart satin skirts as the one sport garment that is always in good taste. For the cooler days of the bathing season, Bonwit Teller has imported a unique cape which buttons snugly across the shoulders and yet does not detract from the smartness of the silken bathing suit. Another certain luxurious smartness, stolen half from the Parisienne and half from the Sun actress, is the beauty of the American negligees. Fifth Avenue shops are featuring shimmering silks and chiffons fashioned in loose flowing models which retain not only a certain lure but style as well. A similar condition exists in the manufacturing of lingerie. If any American woman today wears cotton unmentionables, nobody knows it. The daintiest of chiffons, the most fragile laces, and the most appealing shades of ribbon are fashioned into the most fascinating lingerie America has ever seen. The shops are indulging in an orgy of beautiful lingerie, and the American woman is turning her purse inside out to purchase this most bewitching folly of fashion, and who can blame her? End of section 12.